This is Startup Republic, your home for in-depth business startup stories, investment tips, and more, explained by some of the most influential entrepreneurs of our time. Enjoy the show.
How's it going, everyone? Logan Soleil here, your host of Startup Republic. I'm joined here today by Chad Pederson, owner of Pederson Realty out of Woodbury. Chad has over 18 years experience in the realty game. He's bought and sold houses with Pederson Realty, and he also has experience on the personal side, investing in properties himself. So I want to start the show off today by asking you, Chad, what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given as an entrepreneur?
Best piece of advice I've ever been given is when you're making a decision, it is either hell yes or hell no. Either you are all in on that decision. If it's hiring someone, if it's starting a new lead generation system, if it's going into an office space, if it's investing in a piece of equipment, either you are all in or you're all out. There's no in between. If you are 75% sure on something, it is not a yes.
Have you seen Gary Vee's Flip a Coin video? Do you know what that is?
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
Okay, you should definitely watch that. That the whole video is based on that, and that's
Okay.
actually one of the things that made me start this. So you should look into that.
Interesting.
Basically, it's like every decision you make is based on flipping a coin, and if you fail, then you fail and you don't look back. So that's something I highly recommend. Maybe something Dylan can put into this show. But what about the worst piece of advice you've ever been given?
Gosh, I don't know if I've ever considered any advice the worst, because if it's something that I don't completely agree with, I will take it and learn from it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's ever been anything, just because I think that there's, in this business, in real estate, there's so many people that have so much experience across so many different markets. Everybody's got different experiences, and what might work here might not work somewhere else. What might work somewhere else might not work here. But every kind of advice I've received from people in the real estate industry has some value at some point.
Okay. Getting into Pederson Realty. Tell us more about it. I know we're in the great city of Woodbury. How long have you been established? What do you see for the future? How many employees do you have? What's your vision?
So Pederson Realty was born from Pederson Homes 24 years ago. My father built custom homes in Dakota County for decades, and my mother retired from Unisys to start Pederson Realty, essentially to just sell dad's houses. And it started with just, they always had a small operation. My father, Ron, built wonderful big custom homes, and my mother, Sharon, sold dad's houses and then helped friends and family and people that were building with Pederson Homes to sell their homes. So that's where it got started from. When I got into real estate, was directly with my mother, and it was just us, and really no massive aspirations of building a company. It was just do good business, helping friends, family, past clients buy and sell their homes, and take care of our clients. They've retired in 2006, and then I have grown it now to being in Woodbury. This is our 4th or 5th year in Woodbury, and we're right at Bielenberg and Tamarack. We're right what I call real estate row, with mortgage offices and real estate companies all around us. We've got about 20 agents. We've got a director of operations, director of sales, marketing manager. We've got an inside sales agent that all help support all of our agents and our buyers and sellers to make sure that everybody's got the best experience possible.
I had no idea it started as a family company.
Yep, absolutely.
So was it a natural decision to just, go from there and start off from what your parents had to grow that, or did you want to work in a corporate setting?
No, I did do a corporate setting with a franchise broker for 13 months, and that was not the right decision for me to do. I have always known deep down that just being an entrepreneur, running my own business and making my own decisions was the right way to go. But I thought at the time I needed to change, and thought that I would really put my efforts into a franchise brokerage, and it just wasn't the right thing for me.
Yeah.
Having somebody else making decisions that I would rather make about technology, about marketing and other things, that just didn't fly.
So at what point did you decide to start on your own from Pederson after that brokerage?
Honestly, it took me about a week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It did not take long. But I decided to dedicate myself for an entire year. And, I really wanted to try to make it work. And, I didn't want to just jump in, jump out. So it was after 13 months was when I said, no, that's it. Pederson Realty is the only way that I can do this. Okay. If I'm in real estate and this is, my career, which it is my career, it has to be me being able to run the show and making the decisions that are the best decisions for our clients and our agents.
So how'd you gain the knowledge to be able to run the books and everything like that? Did you have any school experience that taught you, or did you just learn as you went?
So, I went to the University of Minnesota, and, a lot of, college just kind of, I think, prepares you for the business environment, but, direct knowledge, certainly not. I think it just, helps your mind, be able to learn on how to be able to be successful. And then for me, it's really all about hiring the right people. So when it comes to the books and accounting and bookkeeping, I don't know how to run QuickBooks at all, but we use an accounting firm that takes care of all of our bookkeeping, takes care of all of the quarterly and year-end accounting. So all that stuff is managed by the right people.
Yep.
The biggest thing is when, being in real estate, buying and selling homes, I was able to gain all of that knowledge from my parents, and growing up in an entrepreneurial setting my entire life, I was always around, small business owners. Right. So I had kind of had some of that small business knowledge and drive baked into me from birth, literally. So that was, just there. As I decided to expand out from just being a sole real estate broker, just handling purchases and sales for my clients, then I started to, look further for other resources and, starting to talk to other agents, other brokers to get an idea on, what does it really take. As we've come into social media and Facebook, it's really helped because there's wonderful resources out on Facebook with different groups that are specifically oriented to smaller independent brokerages. And other people, I've got over 3,000 friends on Facebook, of which I probably know a few hundred personally, but I have 3,000 friends, and I do see that a lot of these people, and where a lot of these people come from, are agents and brokers across the country. So I've got a baked-in resource group on Facebook of people across the country that a lot of times have already done what it is that I'm looking to do. If we're trying to expand or try something different, or if we're having issues in some certain area, there's the advent of social media, and really the expansion of that, massively over the last 10 years has certainly helped and give me a direct and immediate resource.
In addition to those people, do you have like a business coach or a mentor that you listen to ask questions if you have any problems?
I don't have a coach right now. I'm actually the coach that I want to hire only works with one broker per market.
Okay.
And he's already working with somebody. So I think that is having a coach is absolutely imperative, especially for somebody that's just getting into the business. And it doesn't matter even how long you've been in the business. I think having somebody that helps keep you accountable, and to be able to work with is essential. You just kind of think, just with any sporting analogies of starting with a coach from the time that you're first get into any sort of sport, all the way to Michael Jordan. There's never been a time that Michael Jordan did not have a coach.
Right.
So even you could be the best in your game. Tiger Woods has always had a coach. There's always something you can do. There's always ways that you can help sharpen your mind
Right.
They're think outside the box to be able to excel.
And what do you do on a daily basis to sharpen your mind? Do you have a daily routine that allows you to, get better and better every day?
I don't have a great daily routine. I tend to pop up fairly early and go for the coffee.
Yeah.
It's always coffee is number one. And then, sometimes it's the smallest things. Get coffee going, and then I jump in the shower right away.
Yeah.
And then, get the day started. And then it's always, for me at least, is playing catch up on email. And while I'm still at home, open up the laptop and just start to see what comes through for email. Granted, this day and age, it's a lot of spam, a lot of junk, a lot of things that just don't need, which I'm trying to get better at actually taking a couple minutes to unsubscribing from all this stuff.
Yeah.
Or we use the Google workspace environment here at Pederson Realty. So the spam catches a lot of stuff, and there's, other ways that if it's things I never even subscribe to be able to mark as spam. If there's something that doesn't actually have a unsubscribe link or something, just mark as spam, get rid of it. So trying to do that to help streamline my day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably one of the things that I am failing on the most is I don't have a real good morning regimen.
Right.
And I know a lot of guys that do put together a very solid morning regimen. Really do see a lot of benefit from it. I'm
right there with you. I tried. Like I started by reading a morning newsletter, Morning Brew. So I did that for about a week, and now it's just like it's like every other 3 days. And then I'm trying to get up at an hour early each week, or an hour earlier, and it's not happening as of yet. So it'll come. But really starting to read that newsletter, and then I want to drink e-coffee, and then at night I try to read a business book and then go right to bed. But life happens. A long day, and the last thing you want to do is read a bunch of business knowledge, and so I feel you. So on the investment side of real estate, can you talk about your first investment property?
Sure. My first investment property is still own it, a townhouse in Rosemount that I moved into. That was my primary residence, bought the house. And then when I moved into the next house, I kept it and just kept it as a rental. So kind of, what we sometimes refer to as house hacking.
Yep.
Where your first one is your primary, and then as soon as you're comfortable or you've saved up the money or can make your move to your next house, just keep it. By doing that, it allows you, it depends on what your down payment situation is. If it's something where you buy an FHA, VA, or even conventional mortgage could be 20% down. You can go all the way down to 3% down on a conventional mortgage. So by using it as your primary residence, you don't need to put down 25 or 30%,
right,
like you do with a business loan.
Can you go into how you broke down that first buy? I mean, that's totally up to you if you want to discuss it. But what I'm really trying to figure out for me is, what you as someone in the game would recommend doing for the first one. I know you can do, 20% down, but then you don't have any extra cash in the bank if one of your renters destroys something in the house. So
yep.
I'm kind of trying to figure out what that good number is to go for. And I want to do a conventional loan. But then you have PMI and you have other stuff like that coming in. So is there something you did or you wish you would have done for that first one instead of what you did to actually purchase that first one?
That first one came about and was purchased at a great price. So it was in 2002. And so the pricing was good. It was a new house at the time, which was very convenient because, new appliances, new furnace, new water heater,
nice.
New everything. So, as a rental, that's wonderful. You're not going to have those bigger ticket maintenance items. Right now, new is extremely cost prohibitive.
Right.
It would be just about impossible to come up with any sort of a new build or new purchase scenario that's going to actually work financially. So at the time, that one worked out well. The one thing that I have is I've created an investment analysis spreadsheet that allows me to go through with what a purchase price is, what the down payment is going to be, interest rate, look at the rent, and then all the monthly costs associated with it. So we know exactly what the cash flow is going to be out of it.
Yeah.
And utilizing that, you can determine, all right, should I do 5, 10, 15%? Where should I be at for my down payment to make sure that the cash flow is comfortable and also allowing you to maintain enough cash on hand just in case you have to put in a $5,000 furnace or a massive capital investment.
So is there anything now that you wish you would have known when you bought that first property? You're like, oh, that was a good investment. I'm good with that. I never looked back.
That one I knew was going to be good. I never really had to look back because it was a new townhouse in Rosemount, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. That one it just worked, and granted, it was a smart purchase, both as a primary residence as well as an investment. And when I bought it and moved in, it wasn't a house hack. It wasn't, oh, I'll just make sure I keep this later and use it as a rental. That really wasn't on the horizon. It was just, oh, here's my home, and this is where I'm going to live.
Yeah.
After deciding to buy the next home, looking at what's the equity that's in it and what's the investment opportunity, it became a pretty easy decision to just keep it.
Yeah.
And then that sent me on the road of other investment properties.
What's a good, say, 3 to 4 step process for starting to look for a property for a first time home buyer? I know that, I got a hair at my butt to look about a couple weeks ago, and I went on realtor.com. I found this foreclosure that looked like a really good deal. And I know foreclosures, there's pros and cons, but I went on to realtor.com, contacted what I thought was an agent, and they put me through a bunch of hoops. I ended up getting to a mortgage broker because they said you can't talk to any of the realtors until you get pre-approved for a loan. And I was like, you kidding me? So I talked to this guy who wanted all this information. I was like, yeah, this is not happening, dude. Like, I'm not telling you anything. I don't know you, right? Finally gave me to this amazing realtor in Duluth, and we talked. But that was just a terrible experience. Like, what do you have for the audience for a good 3-step process for starting the process?
So number one is don't go on realtor.com and don't go on Zillow. And
learn that.
Yeah, you learn that one the hard way. Don't just jump on a website and plug in your information and think you're just going to get sent directly to the best person in town. You're going to get sent to somebody that is paying for leads. So number one would be to talk to a real estate and mortgage professional in your network. Somehow somebody that, talk to people that that have had positive experiences with a realtor and with a mortgage professional, and talk to those people directly. Utilizing a knowledgeable realtor and loan officer is absolutely invaluable. And of course, it's, as you found out the hard way, use people that you can be referred to. And even if it's somebody, if it's in a different market, like for us, being we're in the Twin Cities, we're not in Duluth, I certainly know agents in Duluth, or if we're looking for something specific, I can get on the phone and I can talk to a couple agents and find out who the best person is. And, or it doesn't even have to be here. Like we just referred a family member of a friend to an agent in Atlanta, South Carolina, North Carolina, Bonita Springs, Florida, Denver, Colorado. In the last year, we've been able to refer a lot of past clients and friends or family of past clients in different markets to the right professional. So step one, always finding the right professional. Along with that is getting pre-approved for a mortgage. That way, as a first-time buyer, if it's for buying for your primary residence or for an investment property, as we've kind of discussed, the house hacking thing with coming in as your primary and then just making that an investment later is a very good way to go for a first-time buyer. You need to be pre-approved, and the biggest reason is number one, you know that you are approved. You can even go buy a house. It's our policy here that we'll give you one showing, or we'll go out with you once if you're not pre-approved. And then after that, the more time that you want to be dedicated with us, we need to make sure that you're dedicated to, dedicated back to us, and that you're approved for the process. Then we'll make sure that you need to be pre-approved. And then, so number one, that you're approved, and then you know what your terms are. Are you going to be at a 3.5% interest rate or 6.5% interest rate? You need to know what the terms are so you can plug it into our spreadsheet and know if something's going to be a good investment for you or not.
And I know one important factor of getting a good interest rate is your credit score.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing I really want to talk to you about, because I know you have an amazing one and you have a trick to getting an 850 credit score. I'm wondering if that's something you discuss, because as of right now, I need to work on that. A lot of kids my age need to work on that. When we're in college, you get all these credit cards coming at you.
Absolutely.
And they want you to sign up for everything. So what's your method to getting that 850 credit score?
So number one is always pay your bill, no matter what. Even if you are short on cash and you've got a credit card bill and your minimum payment's $100, but you literally only have $75 in the bank, you need to call the credit card company and say, I've only got $75. I'll send this to you, and come up with some sort of a way to pay that. So number one, always pay your bills.
The full balance.
Yeah, full balance if you can. If you're carrying balances, get rid of them. Stop going out. Stop eating out. Get rid of your credit card debt. Get it down to zero. That's number one, is to continue to pay your bills. If it's a credit card bill, if it's student loans, if it's car payment, you got to make sure you pay your bills. Number one. If you're late on anything, that's going to be detrimental to your score. So number one is pay your bills. Number two, pay any revolving cards down. Just get them down to zero. You don't need to worry about car loans or student debt. That's different. But credit cards, if you're carrying a $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 balances, you got to get those down to zero. Step number three is where it kind of the credit score hack really starts to come in. And that's with having two credit cards. A Visa, MasterCard, or just be two Visas, it doesn't matter. With just two credit cards. And we'll just use January, February, March. In January, you would use credit card A and not credit card B. So that way, at the end of January, when you get your bill in from credit card A, you've got a balance. Credit card B that you didn't even touch shows a zero balance. Now you switch for February. Now in February, credit card A that you used back in January, you don't touch. That thing just stays, just throw it in a drawer, just don't take it out of your wallet. Credit card B, now that you did not use in January, that's the one that you use. When you switch those cards, make sure that the credit card that you use, credit card A that you use in January, you pay that off when that bill comes. Pay it off right away. And to get that down to zero balance. Now what's going to happen in February is credit card A is going to show that you had a balance at the end of January. Now at the end of February, you have a $0 balance. So that's going to boost your score because you completely paid off a trade line, a credit card. Now credit card B is going to show that you had zero balance at the end of January, but now you have a balance in February.
Right.
Now in March, you flip them again. Switch them out. Now you're going to use credit card A, but not B. That way, credit card B, you're going to show, hey, look at that. I paid that off at the end of February. That way, at the end of March, it's going to show a zero balance. So every single month, you're showing off a paid credit card. Okay. That will increase your score dramatically. Realistically,
what number do you need for a FICO score to buy, or to get a good interest rate? I mean, is 850 really necessary? Or
absolutely not. Okay. No, and 850 is the mythical high. I've been able to touch 850, and I can get my score to 850 right now essentially whenever I want. But I'm not worried about it because I bounce between 820, 825, and 845. It just depends on how much I use on a personal credit card that month. So now I'm not doing the credit card hack because I've already built up all of the credit history that I need to. I don't have to worry about it. But if you're north of 720, some people would say 680. The higher the better. There's all there is to it. Your interest rate and everything's going to get better and better. It's going to give you more options. North of 720 is really the key. I think some people might say 740 or 750.
Okay.
And if it depends on the mortgage program as well. FHA, VA, conventional. And then behind that, it depends on the investor and what does the investor want to see for different terms. The better credit score you have, the lower interest rate you're going to have. If you've got great credit, you can do 10 or 5 or even all the way down to 3% down conventional mortgage. There's mortgage insurance that comes along with that, but there's options to be able to pay upfront mortgage insurance. Okay. So if you know you're not going to have that house, or you're going to have that house for X number of years, it depends on what the math works out to be, but usually it's 4, 5, 6, 7 years. There's an upfront mortgage insurance option, so you're not paying $100 or $150 or $200 a month. Right. That is going to happen for 5, 6, 7 years. it might only be $1,500 or $2,000 or $3,000 to pay the mortgage insurance up front. It's just gone. It's just done.
Okay.
It's just done. You don't have to worry about it monthly.
I didn't know that.
You can have that baked into your closing costs or just the down payment and closing costs that you pay up front. So there's other options. And all of those numbers, all of the interest rates, all get better with the better credit score you've got.
Do you know anything about Rocket Mortgage? I heard that, well, at least for Black Friday, they were paying 2 payments, your first 2 payments, on top of covering some closing costs. Is there incentives to going through a broker versus something like that? Or should you just go where the best deal is?
Rocket Mortgage that's Quicken. They're just an online phone jockey mortgage company. They provide no value to the industry at all whatsoever.
Okay.
What one mortgage company can do, another can do. There's absolutely zero magic in what Rocket Mortgage does. The only magic they've got is they market all over the place.
Right.
So you're paying for that somehow. All of the marketing that they do, you're paying for it as if you're a client of theirs.
It comes back somewhere.
It comes back somewhere. And like I said, what one mortgage company can do, another can do. You might see where somebody might say, oh, we've got an interest rate of X. And they might quote a different interest rate, might be a little bit higher, but what do the upfront fees look like?
Okay.
You can pay a little bit more upfront to drive down your interest rate. Or you can pay a little less upfront to have a little bit higher interest rate, but you've got less out of pocket upfront. It's a moving balance, and you can't just call a mortgage company and say, hey, what's your rate today?
Yeah.
Oh, we're at 3.125. Oh, we're at 3.25. Well, I'm going to go with those guys. They're 3.125. Because you have no idea what all of the other fees that could be associated with that loan are. Right. There's a lot of factors that go into that.
Okay.
And a mortgage company can't just tell you, oh, hey, yeah, we're at 3.125 today.
Yeah.
Well, what's your credit score? What's your debt to income ratio? There's a lot of other factors that just go into that number.
Okay. We've talked about a lot of numbers so far. I want to get into a little more fun topics here.
Sure.
So, I don't know if you ever got to a point where you're like, I'm doing good. I like where my life's at. But did you ever have a big boy purchase where you're like, I'm going to splurge on myself and I'm not going to care what anybody else thinks and I'm going to enjoy,
The first one was my lake house. So bought my lake house and then remodeled it from top to bottom, ripped off the whole main floor and then rebuilt it. And then after that was my boat. I had a 22-foot boat that I bought a couple of years later. Yeah, a couple of years later after the lake house was done, bought a 22-foot boat.
What lake?
Sauk Lake in Sauk Center.
Okay. Kind of boat?
That was a 4 winds, 220 horizon.
Pretty sweet. My goal is to get a boat by 25. That's the goal. It's just a stupid goal, and it's a terrible investment, but I love the water. I love boats, so I want to get a super aeronautique, like a 2000 wake boat.
Yep. Now I have a Axis T23 wake boat for surfing.
Those are sweet.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Business and life balance. Do you feel like you have a good balance between business and your life, or is your business your life?
I've got a decent work-life balance. In real estate, it can be challenging, to say the least. It depends on a lot of it depends on your clients. So if you're a realtor that has buyers and sellers that work during the week, during the day, and they can't get away from work to go look at homes, you're kind of stuck to go out after hours or on weekends. There's not much you can do about that.
Right.
If somebody's lucky enough to have a clientele that does have flexible work hours, it certainly is a lot easier to move around Tuesday at 10 a.m. to go out and looking at homes than it is noon on Saturday and battling when everybody else is driving around and everybody else is looking at homes.
Right.
So, and also by having a clientele that has flexible hours also allows you to be able to get into new listings to get a jump on things rather than having to wait until the weekend or wait until 6 p.m. to go take a look at something. So sometimes there are limitations.
Yeah.
But I've been in the business long enough that my personal clientele, is further along in careers and do have a lot of those flexible hours. Of course, I always get referrals for new home buyers and first-time home buyers that might not be so flexible, but those are also a lot of the fun clients that I like to have too, because I get to utilize all of my knowledge and help educate people on home construction and the process and everything, and really help somebody be knowledgeable in the process. So if I've got to pop out on a Wednesday night to go, for an hour or two to go look at the homes, I'm absolutely happy to do it, to go help educate some people on the process.
The pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've been kind of thinking going into the family company is, well, how much free time am I going to have? And honestly, for the first 10 years, not a lot at all.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to work my butt out for that first 10 years and hopefully build up that team to where I won't have to be, working 80 hours anymore. But that's just a sacrifice we have to make.
It'd be great if you're not the guy that gets the call at 8 p.m. because the cash register goes down somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Or someone breaks in or alarms go off. Yeah. That's the call you get. Are you big into goal setting? Do you have any big goals set for Pederson Realty? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So actually tomorrow we're doing our 2022 goal setting meeting with our management team. So we're going to all come together and have everybody talk about what their goals are for the year. And we're going to set those into place tomorrow for the year.
One book I'd recommend to you, I don't know if I've ever talked to you about it, is called Traction by, can't remember the name. It's Gene something.
Okay.
Anyway, doesn't matter. So anyway, core values, mission statement, and then how it works is basically the management team meets first. They sit down, figure out at least 4 to 7 core values, and then they figure out what the company wants to do in the next 10 years, and then you set what's called rocks, basically smaller goals to get to those other goals,
Sure.
And then you set up a meeting with the whole company to talk about implementing this program. And then what happens from there is everyone in the company meets each week to set their own rocks, just individual growth goals, whether that's for sales or eating healthier or anything like that. So
Sure.
That's the program we're going to attempt to implement next summer for the shop. It's called Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's through the book called Traction, but Entrepreneurial Operating System. So that's something I definitely recommend. It's a great book so far, halfway through it. And then the whole management team reads that book, and then all the other employees read What the Heck is EOS, is what it's called. And then it's been recommended to me numbers of times, so we'll see where it goes. And then the last employee we just hired, her previous company was all EOS, and she said it was the best company she's worked for.
Well,
so that's something to look into. Anything like that you looked into, or just something you created through research and YouTube and stuff like that?
We haven't implemented anything like that. It's more of just, creating what our big yearly goals are.
Yeah.
And then again, breaking down, week by week, month by month, what do we need to do to be able to attain those goals?
Yeah. So I want some advice you have for struggling entrepreneurs as one, final key piece of advice here that you'd have.
The biggest thing I would always I'd provide for advice is to find a coach, find a trusted person that you can bounce questions off of and help you when you're struggling. Don't try to go it alone.
Yeah.
The other side is don't talk to everybody under the sun. Don't talk to everybody about everything, because you're going to get absolutely confused and you're not going to be able to make a decision.
Right.
Find a trusted person that you can have on your team. And then, as we started with, when make the decision, you're all in on that decision. Either you're all in or you're all out.
Last question I have for you. I'm pretty sure I know the answer. If you could do it all over again, would you be an entrepreneur today?
Absolutely. For myself, I'd have it no other way.
Beautiful. Yeah. Till next time, everyone, thank you for everything, Chad. It was amazing. For more podcast information, you can find us at Startup Republic on Instagram or YouTube. Till next time.
Thank you for listening to Startup Republic. For the latest information and podcast updates, please follow us at Startup Republic on Instagram.